Hello everyone, I'm Sarah and this is Bruna. I'm sure many of you have seen her around. She's been at Substance for a couple of years and I'm excited to interview her today because she's going to talk about the goodness of God and you guys are going to love it. So, Bruna, welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me in, and I feel like you're so gifted at bringing people in, so I appreciate that about you. And in so many ways, it is a privilege to be here, sitting here today. I don't feel qualified to be speaking here, but I do feel called to let God speak through the stories I have to share with you today.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. Okay, so tell us a little bit about maybe your background a little bit, like where are you from? Tell us about your kids, your husband, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been incredibly blessed with a husband and a life partner of 12 plus years and two little awesome boys who don't know how to sleep yet, but we still love them, right? We still love them.
Amen.
And, you know, recently I had a job transition. I thought, you may want to know that I actually left my full-time corporate job. So I will be able to rest and, have more play dates with my kids and reconnect with God's purpose in my life. That was really it. And I happen to live in the beautiful state of Minnesota, but I am Brazilian by birth and by heart. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
The other day, well, actually, wasn't the other day, it was a long time ago, but I was at your house visiting you when you had your most recent baby, who is not a baby anymore. And you made this great Brazilian cheesy bread, and wasn't it called like panju quinju or something? Can you say it correctly?
Pão de queijo,
Oh.
yes.
Right, that's what I meant. It was so
great.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I just love that you're from Brazil, and I love that the beauty of your history in that too. So
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
well, I know that a big part of your story is that you have walked through some really difficult things, and I just felt like you guys should hear a little bit about that. Some of you might know what Bruna's been through, but I thought you should hear it from her. So could you kind of share a little bit of the part of that story that we talked about?
Yeah, I'll start from the beginning. So I got a diagnosis of the most aggressive type of breast cancer just over 2.5 years ago when I was 7 months pregnant with the baby that Sarah was talking about.
Okay, so wait a minute. You got diagnosed with cancer, aggressive, like an aggressive, when you were very pregnant.
Yes, like very pregnant.
Very pregnant. I can't imagine the decisions that you would have to make during that time. What was that like?
So there were literally a lot of life or death decisions that I had to make. And one of the first ones, in a matter of hours, we were asked to decide whether I was going to start one of the most aggressive types of chemotherapies before or after delivering baby Henry. And, there were risks. There are serious risks in each scenario, and like really not even the best doctors in the country could tell me which was the best option. And as a mom, we know that when something happens to us, it's kind of okay, we'll brave through it. But when the health of our baby is on the line, then we feel it deeper, right? And in the end, my husband and I decided that I would go and deliver baby Henry prematurely before I started treatment, knowing that any complications or any surgical interventions would have delayed the start of my treatment and impacted my prognosis. So no pressure, right?
Seriously.
Just go have this this baby, and it has to go very smoothly.
Wow. How prematurely did you have to deliver?
So it was like all just a blur now, but I believe he was almost 8 months old. I was like 36, I don't know. Yeah. So he was already tiny to begin with, and I believe even when you visited, he was still like this.
So little.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so little. How did you come to that conclusion of like, we're going to make this decision? Because those are two really hard choices.
Yeah, we went back and forth. I actually had my first session of chemotherapy scheduled for the next day. And, you know, it was like the night before, something didn't feel right. And Dago and I talked and talked. You can imagine there wasn't much sleep for us that night. It was, we just went back and forth and decided that no, we're gonna have this baby in 2 days. And you can imagine all the logistics and things. I mean, our whole family is in Brazil. There was no one here to care for our toddler at home. And, you know, later on, all things fell into place. But at that time, there was confusion, and there was heavy unknowns and a lot of uncertainty. And, you know, 2 days later, like I said, I found myself sitting in that bed in that hospital room getting ready to deliver baby Henry. And all I could do was pray, right? Was to meditate and, you know, just ask God for confirmation, for clarity, for just some sort of answer.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. I needed that from my heart, from my mom heart, you know, to know what was the right time for baby Henry to really arrive on this earth. I didn't know.
Yeah. I feel like God's timing is so out of our hands, so out of our control, and we have so many crossroads that we often come to as moms. We have to make this decision or that decision. We don't know which way to go, and the timing of God and everything, it's just, we can't understand it all. And yet God invites us into this relationship with him that says, but I want you to ask me and I will show up for you. I will reveal myself to you. And I love that you were like, God, give me a confirmation.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was a bold prayer for you to pray, actually.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think the truth is that when you find yourself in such a situation that's not your everyday type of problem, right? There's so much on the line. I guess that's the beauty of it. It's like, who do you go to, right? It's not the doctors who could tell me anything for sure. It's not even my family. I just had to go for someone a little higher.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
So how did it play out? What happened? He was born.
Not yet.
Well, okay, what did all, leading up to, what did it look like?
Yeah, so I was, waiting for labor to start, and there, of all things, these numbers kept coming to my mind. The numbers 342, 342. And there was a lot going on for me to be thinking about random numbers, right? It was just really odd, and I kept thinking, am I forgetting something? What is this number? Why does it keep coming to my mind? And kind of annoyed, to be honest, because I just wanted to focus on all that was happening. And the impression was so strong, though, that I asked my husband to look it up. I asked him to search for things online and see if he could find something. And I don't know if you agree, but men are not the best at finding things. Anyways, off topic. But he couldn't find anything. 342. And so, as contractions, of course, kicked in and started to get stronger, I completely forgot about that, the 3 random numbers. And yeah, as I worked through the breaths, the pain, the sweat, and the pushes of child labor, I was finally able to meet my baby baby Henry. And you know, if you've been through this experience, you know that the first time you look, you know, and you look at that, their faces, there's just something about looking into their eyes that it was, no matter what was going on at that time, it just felt like every cell in my body was just exploding with this unbelievable joy, right? And to complete all of that, in spite of all that was happening, it was the most natural labor possible with no complications or anything. So I just felt very grateful for that at that moment.
Yeah.
And as the nurses were kind of, you know, doing their thing, cleaning him up to bring him, you know, to embrace me for that first time, I glanced up, and as I looked up, there was a clock sitting right across from my bed, and my reaction was just like, I probably literally stopped breathing for a second. I could not believe, you know, the time. And guess what time it was? It was 3:42. So baby Henry was born not at 2, not at 3, not at 4, at exactly 3:42. And it was just a beautiful confirmation that, you know, God knew what was supposed to happen at that exact minute, right? And at that moment, it was, I felt like convicted, but also, you know, so certain about God's power, and I felt like he was speaking to me, because he was, right, in a way. And I felt him speaking to me and saying just, you know, dear daughter, you've been carrying all this weight, and it's not going to be the first heavy load that you're going to carry, right? In fact, you're going to start chemotherapy 5 days from now, and there's a lot to come. But I just felt him saying, like, I didn't need to carry all of that by myself, right? There was no need to. I couldn't anyways, even if I tried. And in that, I just kind of got it, you know? I was like, that's the peace that I've been looking for up until this point. Even before this crazy cancer diagnosis started, I had never felt that peace, never. And once I felt that, then I could kind of see, you know, the way forward.
Yeah. I just want to honor you so much, because you have gone through some really tough things, and yet I have just seen you run to the Lord. I have seen you with joy. I mean, all throughout even the cancer and the chemotherapy, all of that, like every time I saw you, you were filled with joy, and you were filled with God's purpose. And it was just amazing. And I know it wasn't easy, but you shone Jesus's light in a way that was so incredible through such an incredibly hard time. And I love how, you know, in a time of difficult decision, you know, Bruna took it to the Lord. I mean, that was her, that was what she did, and she is such a beautiful example for us in that, I really think. So as we close, just for another minute, could you know, something that you learned through all of this, I know you shared a little bit, but is there any things you could share with the moms, kind of as a closing, like just a nugget or a word for them as we end today?
I think I would like to encourage everyone watching to just choose, because I do believe that it's a choice to walk with God. And being vulnerable here, I'm not going to say that my faith is perfect now. It wasn't then, and it isn't now. But I have walked in pain with God and without God. And what I can tell you is that when I made the decision to walk with God, it didn't matter if my body was being marked with scars, and if thick needles were poking through my chest, or if my hair was falling out. I just felt him taking care of my spirit in a way, like I said, I hadn't experienced before. And I just want to encourage you to look up, right, to his clock. Not our good plan, but his perfect plan. And to adjust, and to keep adjusting, and that he does give us strength through unbelievable pain, and that pain can really transform us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could make us bitter and other things, but it can make us better. It really can make us better. So I encourage you to just lean in, mm-hmm. to not be afraid, to step in and just walk with him in whatever journey you're in.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I hope you were encouraged and inspired like I was. So bless you, everyone. And
Fiquem com Deus.
Oh, yeah. Say that.
Fiquem com Deus. It's like, God be with you in Portuguese.
I love it.
You learned some new words today. Didn't think you would, right?
I love it. Amen. Thank you, Bruna.